Getting hello. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
How you feel on your first live?
What first live?
Oh, I mean, are you doing every day? No, the live on Instagram, or is your first one?
Yeah, yeah. I'm a big Instagram. I think I have six followers.
And who it is?
Well, before it was my dad, my
Okay.
sister, my wife, and
All
then
right.
when about 5 years ago when you took my phone, it was you and your brother, Dudu. And that's it. And maybe some others. I think there might be some others of your friends, but it's like 6 or 7 or something like that. But Instagram is.
So you are under 10 now.
Yeah, I'm still under 10. Yeah, not 10 million, 10.
And how you feel?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it's like in Brazil, but here is we're really like locked now.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot of restrictions. You can go out once per day for some exercise. You can, and then the rest of it has to be necessary. I mean, I'm just starting to see now that it's getting a little bit busier, which it shouldn't be because the rules are still that it has to be completely locked down.
Okay.
But I think it will be. I don't know. There might be an announcement on Sunday here, but every day is the same. Every day is here in the garden, in the office.
Yeah, lockdown, and for sure you can go outside, but people start to be really restrict now because I think the case is getting higher and higher. For sure, Brazil is a big country, anyway, and when the things start to grow, it grows in a quick way. Not like USA, but definitely it's getting, a lot of, people affected, with the short time. And also we are behind Europe. Europe started maybe a month and a half before Brazil. So then, I mean, everything is like a month after Europe,
I think he's Frankie now.
Yeah, also people is here.
But he hasn't got a look at it. He's been in the.
Hey Frank, how are you?
Good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you're getting big, man? You're really tall now. You're taller than your dad now.
Yeah, he's a midget.
Look who is here. Limpa a boca, rapaz. He has some milk on his mouth still.
Hi, people. Hi, Frankie.
Hi, Pete. When are you gonna come and drive in my team?
I don't know.
Oh, you need to invite him.
I tell your dad all the time.
You don't ask for money, yeah? So you invite him, huh?
A little bit of money, just a bit. I tell your dad all the time that you can come and drive in the team in the same category as Frankie. But your dad is worried that I'm going to ask him for money. But it's all right. It's free. Just come and drive and be in the team. We'll get you some nice overalls. You can wear your dad's helmet.
And you go there and you drive with Frankie, with Felix.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? You had some fun.
Would he be allowed in the mini?
Yeah.
Really? Yes.
No, not in mini. No, but you're still in the cadet.
Yeah,
No, it's called his cadet is called mini.
Oh, right. Okay.
Ah.
All right. Okay. That's good.
Good. So let's start because I mean I just put it down here. Some very, very interesting questions, that I think people will be happy to hear, from your side as well. So first of all, just a quick one. Rafa asked the question, and she was asking, "What is your real name, Rob or Hobby?"
No, my real
Hobby,
name is
Hobby or Rob?
no, Roberto. Robert. Michael Smedley.
No, but why I am asking you that? Because in Brazil, how?
He said, "What is my real name?" Hobo Hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah. This ho, I have no idea what it. When I first met Rafa, and she would say, "Hey, Hobby."
Kisses, Hobby. Missing you.
Because
Oh,
normally
another one
in
was,
Brazil, our R is like H. You
yeah,
know, the people instead of say Rob, they say Hob. You know.
yeah, yeah.
And
But then you put the E as well. So Hobby.
For me,
Like,
how the Hobby.
Facebooky. Facebooky. Instead of Facebook, they say Facebooky.
Kisses. Send kisses to my friend.
so she sent kisses to Lucy. Yeah.
Well done, Rafa. Kisses back to you.
All right, so bro, just tell me how you started your career. So you always wanted to be like an engineer, like how you decided to be engineer and especially Formula One engineer, or I mean motor racing at the end.
Yeah, well, I mean, I always wanted to be an engineer because when I was a kid, I was always fixing things and taking things apart, putting things back together. And then my dad took me to see the Formula One when I was maybe 8 or 9, something like that. And I was really like blown away by the Formula One cars. We went into the pits and we had a look at the cars like really close up. In fact, we shouldn't have been in the pits. We just kind of sneaked into the pits without the passes or anything like that. But I mean, it was a long time ago, so it was easy to get in. And then I remember seeing the cars. The car that I remember is the Leighton House.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it was after Leighton House had bought March, so it was the Leighton House. I remember I got really close to the car, and it was just it was 1988.
Oh my God.
No,
It was the good year of Leighton House or not?
yeah, no, it was a decent year. Yeah,
It was not that for pretty competitive. With the green car with the who was there? It was Capelli, no?
Ivan Capelli and Gugelmin, but that might have been
Yeah,
like
it was the year of Leighton House. They were quite competitive on that year.
yeah, they were good.
Yeah.
And then I saw the cars and I was just absolutely blown away. So he's Felix now. They've got paint all over. Felix, come and say hi to Felipe.
Where is he? Hi, Felix.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
You good?
Yeah.
You're looking good, man. Yeah?
Yeah.
Great. People just left now. Cannot keep him for so long.
He's very little Aslan. So then I saw the cars and I was really impressed with the cars, like massively impressed with the cars, and then decided that I just wanted to be an engineer. So I wrote all of the top engineers of the time, which people like Patrick Head, all of these like top people, and then they were always very kind. They wrote back to me. They wrote back to me, and they like with advice on you have to do this at school, you have to do this at university, then you know, so I always had it in mind, and then I started to be more interested in motor racing in general. I started to work like with go-karts and be a mechanic for go-karts and stuff like that, and then it just went on from there. And then in the late 90s, when I left university, I started working with touring cars, first of all, which was really nice. I enjoyed working with like that. And then afterwards, with Formula 3000 and then Formula 1. And here I am. And I met you when I was in my second team.
In 3000, you was Fernando.
Wait, is it back?
Yeah.
I was Fernando's engineer in Formula 3000.
Yeah. I remember. You told me.
Yeah.
And so then you started in Formula One with Jordan, no?
No, with Stewart, with Jackie Stewart.
All right.
Yeah. So I had a really short stint at Stewart, and then actually the technical director there was Gary Anderson. You know Gary, right?
Yeah.
So Gary, it was a bit of a weird team, and so Paul Stewart was Jackie Stewart was the chairman. Paul Stewart was like what you would call now the team principal, and then everything didn't go very well. So I got the sack from Stewart, from Gary Anderson, which was afterwards when we worked together at Jordan. Then we become good colleagues, and he trusted me and respected me. And now when I see Paul Stewart, and I say he's a big mistake. He's always I'm so sorry about it. No,
it's the same as I mean, remember, we did a seat fitting together in Jordan.
Yeah.
And I supposed to. You were Giancarlo Fisichella engineer, and I remember after I stopped, I was sacked in the Sauber end of 2002, and then I went. Jordan wants to get me in the team, and said, yeah, he was calling me every day. Yeah, let's come here to my team. And Eddie Jordan was always, trying to get me inside the team. I said, okay, that's nice. It's a small team, but I was in the small team anyway in Sauber, so why not, And I went there. We did a seat fitting. It was actually the first time we met. No, I think you saw me. Maybe we had a test before in Mugello. No, that you were doing a test for.
I said to Eddie. I said to the first time I saw you was your first test in Mugello.
And you test with who?
We were there with Carter Kane.
Yeah?
With so Jordan was there testing Carter Kane in Mugello. What year was that? 2000? No.
October 2001.
October 2001. So then we were testing with Carter Kane, who was a nice guy, but not particularly quick. And he was really struggling with his neck because he was quite a thin guy.
Me too, actually.
Yeah. And I remember I can remember your lap times from that test, which were really quick. And then I followed you kind of during the season. So that was 2001 2002 was your first season, right? So during 2002, I remember following you when I was Giancarlo's engineer, and thinking, this boy is really quick, a bit wild, spending a lot of time in the sand trap, but super quick. So I kept saying it to Eddie all the time. We should have a look at Felipe. And then when you come to the fact, and then Eddie said to me, we're going to have a look at Felipe for 2003, correct? 2003. Yeah. And then you came to the factory, and we did the seat fit. And then I had to have a meeting with Eddie afterwards, and he was asking me about you and everything. And I said, he's a really nice guy. He's very young, and he needs, he has a long way to go in his career. But he's
Gary Anderson was there, no?
Is what? Sorry.
Gary Anderson was there as well, no? As
Gary Anderson was back there then as the technical director. So Gary left, then he went to Stewart, and then he came back to. So Gary was in Jordan, then Stewart, then back to Jordan. So then we worked together in Jordan, and then so Eddie asked me about, and then nothing with it. With Eddie, it's not always clear what he's doing.
And actually, Eddie was trying to get me there, and to try to find a sponsor from oil from Petrobras. But it's supposed to be a very small money anyway, and we couldn't find. And then I said, oh, don't worry, I will put you here in the team, don't worry. And then actually, I go in the internet, you know, one day I wake up in Brazil and I watch, I said, Ralph Firman signed will be the new driver from Jordan. I said, oh my God. Thank you, Eddie. You're really nice. And actually, the car was terrible. No, it was supposed to be 2003. It was not a very good car anyway. And I'm not even sure that Ralph Firman did the whole season. So I said, actually, it was a very good thing that I didn't sign for Jordan, and I was Ferrari test driver. And I thank Eddie every day that I see him. I said, thank you very much not to get me inside your team. You're really, really nice guy.
but yeah, thanks for not my career. It's true though, isn't it? But I think that's life, and especially when you're young. I remember when I got sacked from Stewart when I was really young. I can't remember what age I was, but like early 20s. And then I remember Lucy was living. We were just boyfriend and girlfriend at the time, and I was completely devastated. Like for like the time after that, to think, oh my God, like I wanted to be in Formula One, and now I can't even. And then it's so funny now when you look back, because there's what seems like such a massive thing at the time.
Yeah.
To get older is such a tiny thing. Like now, if stuff like that happened to me now, you just think
it is actually, and it's amazing how one little thing changed also a lot for your whole career. You know, on the professional. It's amazing.
It's very true because if I stayed at Stewart, I would never have ended up at Ferrari. Because the only reason I went to Ferrari was because when Giancarlo left at the end of 2003. I think, was it the end of 2003 when Giancarlo left?
Because he was my teammate in Sauber in 2004.
Yeah, okay. So when he left and he was going to Sauber, and Sauber had the Ferrari engine, then he wrote in the press release. So they put a press release to say that we would leave. Then Eddie said some nice things about Giancarlo, and Giancarlo said some nice things about the team, like the normal press release. But in Giancarlo's thing, which was completely unprompted, he said, thanks to the team, thanks to Eddie and everything for everything. And then I want to thank somebody that you never heard of, but he's a young engineer and che farà la strada. This guy will have a big career in Formula One.
Yeah.
But he's a young guy, you never heard of him. And then he said who I was. And then when I read this, I thought, he's really, really nice. You know, I mean, he didn't have to say that. Nobody knew who I was or anything like that. But then Jean Todt read it because he was going to Sauber. So Jean read it, and Jean called Giancarlo and said, "Who is this guy that you're talking about? This young guy, this young English guy?" And so Giancarlo told him, he's a young engineer, English. He's very good. He will have a good career in front of him. So then Jean got in touch. Not Jean, but Ferrari got in touch with me, and then they give me the job.
Nice.
So there you go. So it's just
you started 2004 there, and you were on the testing side, no, as an engineer.
Yeah, so I started in 2004. It was a long time getting out of Jordan. In fact, it was quite difficult, and Eddie was making it quite difficult for me. Which is fine. I mean, when you look back, it's normal that he would do that. He didn't want me to leave. I wanted to leave because I had the double of the salary. I doubled my salary, and the salary was still tiny. So it shows you what Eddie was paying me.
Yeah.
And then I went there and I worked with a guy called Gigi Mazzola, who you know.
Yeah.
Sure. Gigi.
Like the sporting and technical director on the testing team.
Yeah. So then you have to remember that the test team was
huge.
250 people.
Testing every week. Every week it was like at least 2-3 days of testing.
2-3 days of testing. Sometimes with in three different places with 3 different teams. So a tire test. So you might be doing tire testing with 2 cars in Barcelona, a car test, an aerodynamic test in Mugello, a systems electronics test in Fiorano. I mean, it was mad. It was absolutely mad, but it was brilliant. I loved it. If there's one point in my career before the racing bit that I really enjoyed, and I really wanted to go back to the test team as well, because I started with the test team in Jordan, but then I very quickly went to the race team and become a race engineer. And I think for me, I always missed. I always felt that I'd missed out on learning a lot about the car. So going back to the test team, it was you could learn a huge amount about the car, and it was the right time in my career as well, because I learned the basics about Formula One, but then I could really get.
Are you there? Are you there? Acho que there's a little problem with Rob. You there, Rob? So let's wait a second that they will be back. Hopefully. Are you there or not?
I'm here.
Are you there?
I can hear you.
Because you stopped for maybe 30 seconds actually.
Okay, now?
Yeah, now it's good.
All right. So what was I talking about?
Oh, that you wanted to be back on the testing team because it was nice, and then you said you started with Ferrari as a test engineer.
And then I started with Ferrari as a test engineer, and I really enjoyed it. I know, yeah. It's all right now. It's working. I have my helper. He was panicking because
help him internet,
and then what happened? Yes.
Actually, I just want to move a little bit because I mean, definitely we have so many interesting things to speak as well, and I see that. I mean, we're already 25 minutes talking. So I just wanted to say that 2006. Then I just go a little bit quicker. No, 2006. It was my first year in Ferrari, so I moved from Sauber to Ferrari from 2005 to 2006, and I was there. It was a great season. I mean, for me, but for you as well. And me and Michael, you know, as a teammate, definitely a great pleasure, you know, to be, you know, teammate of, you know, one of the biggest, you know, in the history. Here, yeah, actually, yeah. And actually, I did my first 4 races, and my not relationship, but I mean the organization, the job with my engineer, which was Gabriele Delicoli, a very good engineer actually. But I mean, I think the understanding, you know, the working between the driver and the engineer was not very organized. And actually, I am Brazilian, not a very organized, as you know. So actually, I needed to have somebody that really helped me to be organized, you know, in every little details. And then after the 4th race, which was Imola, I spoke with Ross, and I said, Ross, maybe the good idea can be to understand what to do, or maybe to find somebody else that can be my engineer. And then he said, I think I know what to do. I think maybe I will put Rob, because I think he's quite a good engineer, but also he's young. I mean, he can understand you well. Let's try. And for sure, I knew you already. I mean, working together in Ferrari, not for very long, but for a bit. And I was happy. And then my first race, which was in Nürburgring, 2006, it was our first race together, was my first podium. You know, we finished 3rd, and it was really a great start and a great, you know, working. And what do you think? Because I mean, normally I'm not a driver that talks a lot in the radio, you know, but you know, I really need some good direction as well. So what do you think on that. I mean, and maybe it's good to have your comments, in the how I am and how you understood the way to work with me,
Well, I think your appraisal, your analysis of how you were is pretty accurate. I think that my opinion from when I was watching you in 2002 hadn't really changed. I think you'd matured a lot. Well, not a lot. You'd matured a little bit, and then afterwards, now you matured a lot after that. But from first meeting you properly in Jordan in 2002 to then when we started to work together in 2006, you matured a little bit, quite a lot as a driver, but there was still a lot that wasn't there. And I don't think that you'd ever, you probably hadn't, you'd never been surrounded by a really good team that had directed you as to, all the bits that needed, all the really important bits that needed to happen to become a complete Formula One driver. But the most important thing for me was that the speed was there. And I remember Ross, when he first talked to me about being your race engineer, we were in the car together and we were going it was the Monday morning, and we were going from Bologna Airport back to the factory, because we used to go home at the weekend on our spare weekends and then back to England. And then sometimes we'd see each other in the airport, and then he would give me a lift back to the factory. And he said, what do you think of Felipe? So I said, well, he's really quick. And he said, but he's not, he hasn't been getting the results for the team, etc., etc. I said, yeah, but he's really quick. I said, the speed is not the problem. The problem is just that I think he's a bit chaotic for him. And he needs a bit more calm and a bit more structure to the weekend. And once we have that, he understands how to run the weekend.
Ferrari is not easy, especially for a young guy as well. So I just had to understand, the team and try to work in the right way.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is that I love Gabriele as well. Gabriele is a really good friend of mine, Deli Colli,
sure.
But Gabriele had spent 5 years as Ruben's engineer, playing always number 2 to Michael, and now he saw this as an opportunity to be like the number 1. So I think he was putting a lot of pressure on you as well. Not consciously or anything like that, but just there was this pressure to beat Michael, to finally emerge from not being the engineer of the number 2 driver. And I remember talking to you at the time and just saying, look, I mean, Michael's Michael, and he has, he's already at that point, he was 7 times world champion. We have a lot to learn from him, and if we do it in the right way, then we can get, towards the same level as Michael, and then eventually it will come the point where we can even be better than him, but not if you want to do it tomorrow. So it's about putting the structure, about, organizing the weekend, putting a lot of details, making it as simple as possible so that it took away all of that shit, and all you had to do was get in the car and drive. And I think in the end it worked. In the end it worked. I mean, we had a good run.
And also another one, which I think is a quite good one, Brazil 2006. For sure, it was my first victory at home, and I think it would be good also that you can say what you felt on that weekend. But also, started to say Friday it was terrible. We were nowhere, with the car. Remember, and then suddenly we stay. Very very long into the evening, discussing, and Saturday we were unbeatable. So just explain why, and I maybe if you remember me, I leave you to say what was wrong in the setup or whatever. But
don't forget, then you were still very young, and this is where you matured. I think as we got older and we worked together, and you were able to, and it's a way of understanding. But as we,
I think I will 11 or 12 with a very very good car.
Yeah,
and
with it wrong. Yeah, and what happened was, I think back then you found it when it was difficult. You found it difficult to articulate, to actually tell me what the problem was, and we did the first practice, And then the second practice, and you're right, we were nowhere, and it was the car's shit. I don't know what's wrong with it. This is absolutely, and it was like a big panic. And I was we had to kind of wait for it to calm down, and then started to try and understand and look at the telemetry, look at the data, go through it in a lot of detail.
I think you stop again. Are you there? Are you there? Robertino?
Back?
Yeah, it's back, it's back.
Okay. I was on 4G, so now I've put it on the wireless.
All right, good.
Yeah, so it was difficult to understand what the problem with the car was, and we worked really, really hard. And in the end, the car was completely oversteer because you were not helping the problem because you were trying to drive around it. So for us to see it in the data, but then when we started to look at it and started to understand what we actually did was we started to understand it by corner. So if you take turn and it become after that, it was always a reference like in turn 6. Which is a massively quick corner to turn 6-7 before you brake and go into the right-hander for 8. You were really quick there, and it was the only place you were quick. And then
only corner.
Yeah, and it's because it's always understeer that corner. Yeah. So when we started to look at it, then basically we started to understand, and then I said, okay, let's change the car completely, right? Let's change everything on the car. And we made a lot of changes to the mechanical grip of the car, to the air balance of the car, to where the weight distribution was. And we changed everything. And then I remember you being quite nervous and saying, yeah, but I mean, we're absolutely nowhere. And and I said, no, sometimes you have to, sometimes you need small changes, and sometimes you need to do a lot and kind of be brave about it. So we were brave about it. And the next day you got in the car and you were happy with it straight away. I don't think we changed it then from the Saturday morning until the Sunday afternoon, and you won by a massive amount. No? I mean, what did you win by? Maybe
Michael was starting in the back, because he had a problem in the qualifying. But I mean, normally we disappear because actually, if Michael would have been there in the normal way, it would have been a fight from the beginning to the end of the race from me and him, So, but actually. He was having problems, so I was much quicker than everybody. So great feeling.
No, I remember. I can remember one point that Ross said to me, because obviously Michael was still in for the World Championship.
Yeah.
So Ross said to me, "Rob, tell him to slow down because we need Michael. He can't go too far away. We need Michael to catch him up." So I said, "Okay, you got to slow down, and then we see if Michael can get close to you." And then I think Michael, you were slowing right down, but then Ross said, no, it's not enough. Michael's not catching him enough. So I said, you slow down again, and then so you slowed down, and then you started to go off. You started to make a lot of mistakes. Can you remember?
Yeah.
And you were going off the track and everything. And then I said, Ross is doing it because he's not used to driving at this speed. He needs to drive at the normal speed. So then Ross said, just
let him go.
Yeah.
And quick one, 2007. I think actually it was a great year, for me, 2007. And remember, I mean, we had a deal in the team that, I mean, until Spa, everybody's free to fight. After Spa, we have a number 1 and driver to concentrate at the end of the season. Remember that, I mean, until Monza, we were in the front of Kimi, fighting for sure the whole championship together. But, I mean, we had a great year actually, and until Monza we were in the front. Monza was quite competitive, so we're supposed to finish or second or third in the race. I was third, but I mean my pace was also in the good way to fight with Lewis, which was second, and we supposed also to finish second maybe. And then we have the failure in the car with the third damper. The high damper, yeah. And actually, we were maybe 4 points in front of Kimi, something like that. And then, because of this failure, Kimi arrived in Spa, with more points than me and as a first driver. Remember that?
Yeah, I can remember it. It was, yeah, it wasn't very because I think the good thing about that was that there was a lot of expectation that Kimi would be like Kimi would run away with it, and from the very outset, I think that once you'd understood how to deal with
It was a very good, fair way of working. 2007, 2008, and even 2009. But 2009 was a different, things anyway.
Yeah, no, but I think it was difficult, but it's one of them times. I mean, I remember when we lost it in 2008 that I'm sure you're going to talk about. In the end, you have to be pragmatic. You have to be. It's one of the things that in the end that the moments in life and in your career, they're the ones that really make you as a man. They make you as a person. You understand how to deal with things, and it makes you stronger. Whatever happens makes you stronger.
And 2008, I mean, for what's happened, everybody knows very well. Singapore, the shit race. The everything that we're passing through that year. But I think maybe the good thing that maybe people will be more happy to hear is your feelings, from the race, because I mean, just tell exactly your feelings, how what you were telling me through the race and everything that it happens in your feeling on that race.
Well, I can remember when we went there, because I can remember that. Really, we were by far the outsiders. I mean, I can't remember what the points gap was, but it was so big at that point that everybody thought there would be no chance that we could still win it. And
maybe 6 points. Or
it was a big points gap, and McLaren had a good car, and it was really for them to lose. And then what my memory is that I remember. With the mechanics and the engineers, that I took them for dinner before, when we were back in Italy, and I said, okay, we just have to go there. We're going to have some fun, but we're going to do really the best race that we did this season. So we're going to get the car in pole position and everything, and we have nothing to lose. It's not about the World Championship. Forget about the World Championship. And really, it was to take the pressure off everybody, so that they could just kind of relax and do the absolute best, treat it as a single race. And in fact, it worked, because it was.
Yeah.
I have to say, when I look back, I mean, we had some good races, but that was definitely one of the best. From start to finish, the car was perfect from when we got there on the Friday, all the way through Friday. Even the in the media sessions, we were trying to wind McLaren up, and on the television saying, no, we're just here having fun. I mean, it's McLaren who are going to win the championship, and Lewis, and I don't think they liked it at all. And it was just good. It was just nice. I mean, the whole thing worked perfectly. Pole position, and then in the race, the race was wet, dry. Yeah. And we always got the calls right, and you were always right on the limit of the performance of the car, driving really perfectly, the team working perfectly, pit stops, tire choices, everything. Brilliant. Really, I really enjoyed it.
All right. And your feeling, like in the last lap?
Well, I remember being fully aware of what was happening, and trying to understand what was happening. And I think I was, to be perfectly honest with you, one of the few people in the team. And Giuliano was our performance engineer. Giuliano and I were talking the whole time and saying, okay, where's Lewis? What position is he? And talking about where he is on the GPS, and just having a very normal conversation. No emotions or anything like that, because we're still at work. And everybody on the pit wall was going mental, like, where is he? What's he doing? What's the situation? And, like, asking me all the time. And I was like, for fuck's sake, like, just work it out for yourself. I'm trying to concentrate and do my job. And then on the last lap, I was watching. I was watching what was happening, and then the GPS wasn't perfect in them days. So I could see that Lewis. It looked like Lewis was in front of Timo, because it wasn't on the television. And then as he come out the last corner, so you crossed the line already, and they were still in before turn 12, before the last corner. And then to me, it looked like that Lewis had passed him when I was watching the monitors on the pit wall. Then everybody started to jump on me and say, you did it, there's the world champions and everything. And I was watching and thinking, fuck. And then I could see, and then I looked out over the pit wall, and I saw Lewis coming up first. I saw the McLaren coming up first.
Just to be sure, watch well.
But people were still going like for like 30 seconds afterwards or something. People were still grabbing me and pulling me off the pit wall and everything. And I was saying, no, we didn't win it. And then afterwards it was fine because we had to I was still at work. I'm still at work at that point, so I had to just deal with it and talk to you and everything. And then when it stopped, and then I had time to myself and I went away. I can remember. I went to find a quiet place, and I honestly cried for 1 hour, maybe 1 hour, something like that. I was just on my own. I didn't have anybody there. I didn't really speak to anybody. I remember calling my wife Lucy, and it was difficult to talk to her because I was that upset. And then afterwards, I could kind of deal with it a little bit better. But honestly, it was the most devastating. In that point, it was the most devastating moment in my career, and yours as well, obviously. But then when I look back on it now, I think it was a really, really beautiful moment as well. Because without that, things would have been different. And to be honest, when you look back, for you personally, did it really change anything? Would it have changed anything? All right, you would have been called the Formula One world champion, but would you have had all of the the adoration and what happened on the podium and everything like that? It wouldn't have changed anything. In fact, you probably had more.
For me, on what's happened on that race, it was a racing. Nothing you can do. This is championship. This is racing. This is fight. But for me, what's happened in Singapore, this is something that, it can't work like that, because we lost the race, points, whatever, a race that it was an amazing race. Pole position 7 times in front of the second, in Singapore. And then you just, we had a mistake in the garage, but a guy made a mistake by everybody stopping on the same time because of a fake crash or whatever. This for sure is something that he paid.
Yeah, no, that was tough. But there was a lot of things during 2008 where we lost the.
Yeah.
There was a lot of times in 2008 where we lost the championship, unfortunately. But it definitely wasn't Brazil. We lost it well before that. We should have won it by a long. We should have won it by like 30 points or something like that. Singapore, Budapest, where else? Malaysia.
Budapest.
Yeah, there was a lot of times where we had just easy points on the table, but that's life.
Yeah, and the accident. Something you wanted to say?
Tough, really, really tough. I think that was undoubtedly the worst. The only time that I have that comes close, and this is the bit that I find really difficult to deal with in Formula One. But the only time that I have anything like that comes close, and we were there together actually, was when we were in the hospital with Jules in Japan, which was really, really devastating. Our friend and a young man and everything that gets taken from me like that. But that was the feeling that you remember, the feeling that you had with Jules when we were in the hospital in Suzuka. That was the feeling that I had then. But it took a long time to try and during just straight after the accident. It took a long time to try and understand. We were looking at the data to try to understand.
That was the first day for me, because you just see that we are there working, and then you see that you lose something that it makes a lot more sense than anything else, which is a life for a friend, for somebody that you are always together, and that for me was really tough, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, and it still is when you look back on that. When you look back on that first moment in Japan, at least. I remember you have the feeling that it's not really real. I can remember Lucy being with me in the paddock in Japan, and it was just like, fuck, this is not real. And it was the same in Budapest as well in 2009. It's just it feels like it's not real. It feels like you're almost watching it from the outside.
Yeah.
And then, you know, thank God that you pulled through, and in the end, you know, it was, you know, compared to how it could have been, it was minimal. I mean, what was it, 6 months out of the car or something like that? How long did you spend out of the car in the end? 6 months, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you were incredibly lucky.
July to very end of the year, I think we did a test, no? Yeah.
Fiorano was the first one, then Mugello.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So how fun? Hockenheim 2010. First of all, that race, and the second, I mean, you know, you are quite famous. I mean, your the phrase, you know, that you created on that time, it became like the one of the most famous, you know, phrase in the history, you know, of Formula One.
Formula One, yeah.
Felipe is faster than you. So, you happy?
No. I'd rather be remembered for something else. But it is what it is, you know. I mean, I remember, it definitely made me well known across, even outside of Formula One, I think, because it was just, it was another strange situation, but you know, when you look back on it, it was fun, but at the time it wasn't.
Yeah,
much.
it was terrible. And actually, you know, I saw something. I didn't saw it before, you know, but yesterday my brother Dudu, he is also here. So if you want to say hello to him, he's just writing down, he's following us and everybody else here as well.
Ciao,
And,
Dudu. How are you?
And he sent to me the race in Hockenheim. Sorry, the race in Australia, which was the second race of the year. Then you were talking to me and you were saying 3 or 4 times, Felipe, Fernando is faster than you. Let him by. Felipe, Fernando is faster than you. And remember, I didn't read an answer to you.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, in Australia, in Melbourne.
In Australia, yeah.
Yeah, no, you didn't answer. And then afterwards, we had a bit of a fight in the team about various stuff, but you know, we weren't very happy between any of us. And then I think, you know, people ask me quite a lot about Hockenheim 2010, and I always say, look, could we have done better? Could I have done better myself on that Sunday in Hockenheim in 2010? And my answer is always very, very clear. Yeah, of course I could have done, you know, but we all could have done better. You know,
yeah.
Other people in the team could have done better. Felipe could have done better. Rob could have done better. We all could have done better. There's a lot of stuff that we didn't do, and it's because of stuff like that you learn. You know, it's important that you learn, and I think that it taught me a lot as well. You know what I mean? It taught me a lot about how to manage things, about maturity, about all of these types of things. You know, but it was also. I mean, on the flip side, if you want to look at it like that, it also, you know, showed me something. You know, when you think something's wrong and you want to stand up for something that's wrong, you know, you've got to make your decision. You know, if you believe that something's wrong, whether it's wrong or not, you got to make your decision. You got to have a pair of balls, and you got to stand up for it. And that's what I guess I was trying to do that day. Whether it was right or wrong, I don't know.
Yeah, for me, I think the bad thing on that day, because I mean, definitely always the teams, they have their own direction to go, to follow, but and I understood already after the first race, the second race in Australia, that I mean the feeling and the situation would have been not easy, you know, on that year. Yeah, I understood that. I mean, the ideas and what the team wanted, it was a little bit different than what you wanted, you know, at the end. And but for me, the worst thing is that it was one year exactly after my accident. I mean, that's for sure big pain, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why when I say, you know, I put my hands up and say I could have done better. We all could have done better. But I really mean it when I think we all could have done better. You know, it was handled not very well from anybody.
Yeah.
So, you know, I wanted to If I could go back, would I change anything? Especially, I mean, I can't even remember how old I was then. I guess mid-30s. Would I change anything? Probably not at that age.
Now you can say that it's always a good school, you know.
Yeah.
For the and Williams. So I think we had a good time, there. So definitely, maybe you didn't had a good time on the last year, maybe, you know. But I mean, it's not really. Yeah, it's something that sometimes, you know, when the car is not good, it's not good, and you cannot do anything. But I think we had a good time, a good year, and actually, you went there because of me or the opposite?
No, come on. You know what the truth is. I was already signed. We went and got completely pissed in a bar in Singapore, and then you said to me, "Do you think I should call them?" And no, it was me, you, and Dudu, whatever Dudu is. And we got completely pissed, and then we were chatting about it, and I said, "Look, just fucking call them. I'm going to talk to them, and then we're going to see whether or not let's see like how we can make it work." So then I spoke with Claire, and then afterwards you spoke with Claire, and then we started to. I think you met her in Japan, but Japan, I was already there. I was signed, but everybody always says, "Oh, you followed Felipe to Williams." But
thanks to me, you went to Williams, man.
Oh.
So, and then, I mean, you wait very long. You wait, I think maybe supposed to be 6 months, and then it was 4 months, no?
Yes. Yeah, Stefano was good. Stefano Domenicali was really good and allowed me to go there a little bit earlier. I mean, because, I mean, at that point, who could have imagined that Williams because Williams, when we went there, don't forget, was complete last. So with, you know, when the team that went there to turn it around was a strong team. You know, you went there, I went there, Pat Simmons went there. There was good guys already there.
Valtteri, we had a good, really working as well.
Yeah. But the team when I signed the contract with Williams for 3 years, it was last, either ninth or last, and not so they could never have expected to be third and beat Ferrari the first year. And we did. Okay, Ferrari didn't do what they should have been doing, but we were there. I mean, we had some good
mate.
to win. Sorry?
We beat Ferrari, mate.
I know, yeah. and we had some good chances to win as well.
Yeah.
Remember? I mean,
I remember
the last race. I mean, we were a few laps from the
last race, Abu Dhabi, 2014, but also the race in 2015 in Silverstone. Remember?
Yeah, and we should have, and we had some bad pit stops as usual. I think in the end,
pit stop it's amazing. I mean, we had like a pit stops that it was taking, I don't know, 4 seconds. You know, 3.5.
Yeah,
people were 2, and then suddenly we had the best team in terms of pit stops. So it was for sure. It was not only the people, to be honest. I mean, it was the equipment. No,
we had to work a lot. We worked a lot on the science, on the equipment, on everything. A massive difference there was Steve Nielsen, who came in at the end of 2014 as the sporting director. And Steve is, I think Steve is the best sporting director in Formula One, the best one I ever worked with. He's really brilliant, and he made a massive difference there. So we had a fucking really good team to start. I mean, you think that Williams was last, and then we went for 2 years. We were the third or the fourth quickest car, or 3 years. Definitely, and sometimes the second fastest car. I mean, it's almost unimaginable now that the team can go from last. You take Williams now, the same thing. Williams now is at the back, and you think next year there would be the third. It's unimaginable. So I mean, we did a good job. It was a good job.
Now, listen, we have 2 minutes here that you will stop. So you wanna open another one to do another, just 5-10 minutes just to finish all the points.
Yeah. I don't know how to do it, but you'll have to tell me how to do it.
We just entered the same way you did before.
Okay, and what do I do now to come out?
I will stop, and then you just enter again.
All right.
So you're looking good, huh? You too, huh? much more beautiful than that.
We've been making a race car track in the garden.
Ah, you have? You built it?
We've been painting it. Yeah.
Oh my God, man. That's
Dad,
good, huh?
Yeah, Dad can send you a picture later.
NASCAR.
NASCAR.
Oh, yeah? All right. Send me the picture, huh?
Yeah.
I want to see. People is running here that he want to see you two together. Come here, people. He fought. He fought in the floor. You're running too quick. Vem cá.
Venga.
Venga, venga.
Hi, people.
So you can talk
Hi.
with them too now, huh? Now we have enough time.
Now it's free.
Now it's free.
No, it's free.
Now it's for free. So
I was in the simulator.
you don't talk? Talk to them, not to me, man.
What should I talk about?
Talk that you were in the simulator. You know, talk that here you can go around the house. You with
Hi,
the...
Felix.
So tell them what you're doing here
No,
in this different time. That you are so sad that you're not going to the school.
I'm playing Fortnite.
Talk to them, not to me.
I'm playing Fortnite. Wait, people, can I get your name? Yeah.
I sent to you his name.
Yeah.
Okay?
Fortnite's a big waste of time. You need to go out in the garden and play football, not Fortnite.
Yeah, true. Better. So
where are you now? In the house or in the
house
where your cars are? All right.
No, where?
In the house.
In the house. No, yeah.
And so just tell me, you have a little garden, you know, that you can go outside, or you can have some air, or
Yeah, we have a football field. We have a football pitch in the garden. I mean, not a full size, obviously. It's a small one. Yeah, and the house is in the middle of construction. So the house was we had to stop all of the building.
Yeah.
So now we have to live in a small part of the house.
Okay.
But I mean, honestly, you kind of, I think what one thing that this period has taught us is that I guess you need less. You don't need so much. You know, you're just here. You have a simple life. It's nice. I started to do the garden as well.
Good.
He's not very good at it.
I am.
He's not good at it.
He brags that he's the best in the country. Frankie. Yeah. Remember when in Monaco when we tried to do like the filmy thingy in my house. No. I can remember when Thingy won, and then at the middle of the night we jumped into the pool. Yeah, against in the final, Liverpool against Real Madrid. Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that.
Ah, you remember? Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, Williams.
Oh, Williams. I think we had a good time. No, I mean, especially at the beginning. Especially at the beginning, it was really good. And we were able to make some really positive changes. Pole positions, a lot of podiums, second places, third places, just missed the win. And it always, you know, as one of the senior engineers there, it always gives me some pain that we weren't able to convert it and put the team back properly on the map. You know, it was too short. It was for 3-4 years or something like that. So 2014 and 15 were good years. 16 and 17 a bit less, but still good compared to for a midfield team. You know, still at the front of the midfield, and then afterwards it become very difficult.
To be honest, I mean, for midfield, for the size of the team, it's clear and it's true to say that, I mean, we did a lot, because for the amount, the budget Williams had. I mean, the amount, the size of the team compared to many other big ones that we were fighting. I mean, finished 2 years top 3, another 2 years top 5. You know, 2 years third, 2 years fifth. It was quite positive. You know, then
Yeah.
I mean, it was a big change on the team, but I mean, it was definitely a great time.
Rob, if there is the race in Silverstone, you, Felix, Lucy, and Frankie, you go on.
Which one? For the Formula One?
Formula
Formula
E.
In Silverstone?
Yeah, maybe we can have a race in Silverstone, but it's not official yet. So let's see.
Oh, really?
But
Yeah.
if there is, you're going.
No, I think it's better we go to Rob's house and Daddy goes to the race, because I think it's not allowed everybody.
I don't know if we'll be allowed the people to go. Let's wait and see.
But
Anyway,
we stay with the boys.
Okay.
You can come here, people, and you can stay with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
You have to sit on the floor.
Yeah. You have to sleep in the garden. In the
No, he
garden.
has to sleep in the garden. You can sleep in his bed.
so you ready to sleep in the garden, Frankie?
No.
No, okay.
No. Oh,
And you-
wait. If me and people don't want to sleep in the garden, then we can put Felix in the garden.
Very nice.
He doesn't mind.
For sure, he mind, Felix? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, I was sleeping here because this is in the garden. Like,
Okay.
This is out in the garden, but I won't sleep.
This office is in the garden, so he can
Yeah.
sleep here. They
Okay.
can all sleep here.
Yeah,
We can put,
sleep here. We can put a mattress.
you can put all 3 of them here
So we leave the kids there
in the
outside
garden.
in the garden. All right.
Pippo, do you want to sleep in my office in the garden?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you go. All 3 of you can sleep in the office in the garden, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's stay inside, otherwise he cannot see you.
Okay. Yeah. And then in the middle of the night, we can scare the parents. Yeah, we do like my dad did to his friends. No, like my dad's friend did to him. So he said that the Coca-Cola one.
What?
They started to go like this in the window.
This is a history I told him when I was a kid. That is a little bit long. I tell you maybe another time because. So, Rob. Anyway, I mean, I think just to finish with Williams, I think as we were saying, I mean, it was a great time. And last year, what happened? Well, I was not there anymore, but.
And Williams?
Yeah, what do you think? It was a big change, you know, from actually not easy, but I mean a good fight team, but then everything changed from one year to the other in the big time.
Well, I mean, obviously, you know, it went through a period of, I would say, not a lot of stability in terms of the personnel. And if you're changing personnel, whether the question of the personnel is, you know, the top people I'm talking about, whether they're good or bad or whatever is another question. That which we don't really want to get into. But for sure, if you're changing people, then it makes it, you know, and you have a lack of stability. It's very, very difficult, you know, because whoever's there, you know, whoever the team, it's never one person, first of all. So anybody who thinks that one person is responsible for everything is always wrong, because the teams now are minimum of 700 people, you know, sometimes 1,000 or whatever. So it has to be, you know, if you take Mercedes, which is the reference now for Formula One, Toto is the one in charge. But Toto under him, if he doesn't have the right people under him and they don't have the right people under
That doesn't
them,
work.
you'll never do it. So you know, for a team like Williams to be at the back, it means that, you know, right throughout the organization, then they have weaknesses. They will have some good people and they will have some weaknesses. And I think that one of the big things for me, why, you know, what I was always pushing for, was that, you know, Williams, they needed to partner with the top teams. And the most obvious choice would have been somebody like Mercedes, you know, to do a partnership there. Not to do like Haas. You don't need to do as much as Haas. You can still have the autonomy and the independence of the team, and it's still called Williams and all the rest of it. But it's just that you take the R&D that teams like Mercedes can spend hundreds of millions to do this R&D, and then basically you put this into your team, you inject this into your team, and you have a better car. And I think that if you take what happened in 2014 with some of the technical people coming in, you know, so Pat brought a lot of experience from Renault, which you were able to put straight onto the car. I brought a lot of experience from Ferrari, which you were able to put straight onto the car, so on and so forth. You know, you with your experience of how to drive the car in Ferrari and what the car was like to drive, you know, you bring a lot of let's call it free research and development that you can put on the car, and that gives you a huge step. But that can only last for so long, because afterwards, then you know, without generating new ideas and stuff like this, it's quite difficult. So I think that, you know, Claire is, you know, it's her company, and she's whatever she wants to do is fine. It's her company, but she. You know, she's always maintained the position that she wants Williams to be completely independent, and being completely independent. It's fine if you want to be completely independent in Formula One right now, in the year 2019, 2020, 21 or whatever. It's fine, but you have to have the money to be completely independent. So you can't have the midfield budget and be completely independent, because there's other guys like you see with Racing Point. There's other guys that can link very, very strongly to another Formula One team, the top Formula One team. They don't do anything wrong. It's completely within the regulations, and they can produce a very, very fast car. And if you don't do that because you feel it's wrong,
like Haas with Ferrari, so they started really well the season, but then, I mean, with the developing, everything changed through the season, you know. But I mean, actually, how they started the season is because they had a good relationship with a good car, good team, that it could help on the materials, you know, on the pieces and everything around the team.
Yeah, 100%. And whilst the regulations, you know, whilst the rules allow you to do that, you have to do it. You know, you can't think back to a Formula One from the 90s or from the 80s when everything was different, and you know that's gone now. You know, I'm a great believer in, especially from a work point of view, you know, a career point of view, Formula One. Is you have to look at tomorrow, or you have to look at today and tomorrow. You can't look at what happened. What happened is meaningless. You know, learn from the mistakes. Don't think that what worked yesterday is going to work tomorrow. Because in Formula One, there's one single ground truth. It's that what worked yesterday isn't guaranteed to work tomorrow. So you have to constantly keep reinventing and pushing and working hard and trying new things and putting them all together. And if you're not doing that, and you're not either doing it in-house or you're not doing it with other top teams, you'll be dead.
It's true. I agree. And just to finish, after Formula One, what is your plans? And what are you doing, actually?
Well, I took a sabbatical from what was supposed to be a sabbatical in 2019, last year, from the teams. And I think probably I'm working more now, double now than I ever worked before. So I'm still working with Formula One, with FOM, with Ross Brawn, who we know very well from Ferrari, to try to bring some of my experience to help with Formula One, the sport, and to make it more engaging for the fans and stuff like this, bringing some engineering experience. And then I have my own consultancy now, engineering consultancy, where we have some pretty big clients, and we're working on some really, really big motorsport projects. So I have a group of guys who are helping, and we do analytical projects, strategic projects, where you know we're putting together big plans for even governments at the minute. And then I have my electric car company. So the one you know very well as the president of the CIK. Presidente. And so we're just putting together some stuff with that now. That's growing, but it's something that for me, I wanted to definitely give back. I wanted to spend this time. You know, I had up to now I've had a fantastic career in Formula One, in motorsports and stuff like that. And last year I started to reflect on what was the best way that I can actually give something back, especially to the kids, you know, to get the kids involved. And karting and motorsport and stuff, or grassroots motorsport, it's so expensive. But in my opinion, it doesn't need to be. So I want to make a difference with my experience, with my knowledge, with my intelligence, with the people I have working with me. We've got to put a company together, because I think that electric karting can help with the democratization, with you know, making it cheaper, you know, bringing down the barriers of entry for motorsport, for that type of stuff. So we're just putting all that together now. We've had some really good conversations with Motorsports UK, who's the governing body here. Some good conversations, you know, with lots of people who want to be involved in it. It's become really massive, to be honest. It's become much bigger than I expected, because it's got so many good parts. And I think that people really appreciate the fact that, you know, we have me as a Formula One engineer. I've got some other Formula One engineers from Ferrari, from Williams, and we're all like, we put together a company to give back to motorsport, to hopefully build like Formula One karts. So the next generation of karts,
which is will be the future, you know, actually, you know. So maybe, I don't know, maybe in 10 years or even less, we're not gonna have a combustion engine anymore, you know, especially cities and everything else. So at the end, everything will translate to the motorsport, you know, to the racing, you know.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't think, you know, if I look at some of the stuff that you know, people have made really good efforts in trying to bring electric karts to motorsport. I think that right now is the time that we can really accelerate the technology. And, you know, they need to be lighter, they need to be fast, they need to be cheap. They need to do all of these things, and it will get more people involved. That's my thing. You know, I really want to get it out, you know, not only into the countries where the ASNs have really popular, like in the UK, Brazil, you know, Italy, France, Spain, all of these countries where the ASN is really strong, but get it out into other places as well. India, Africa, China, you know, get it out to these places and let the kids, you know, really feel what motorsport is about. Because I think motorsport teaches you a lot. I mean, everything that we've just talked about for the last one hour, you know, more than 1 hour, what we're really talking about is an education and a learning process. And it's taught me so much as a person. And I see my kids doing karting now, you know, and it teaches them a lot. It teaches them about discipline, about teamwork, about all of these things which are really, really important in life. And the problem is it's so expensive that there's only a tiny minority of people that can do it. So if we can do something, if we can give back to motorsport, you know, working with the FIA, the CIK, the governing bodies, the ASNs, if we can give back and get a bigger population involved in motorsport, it's good. I'm happy.
A lot to go on that side, definitely. Yeah.
And you,
right.
What are you doing now?
Waiting to get back to Europe, you know. So just waiting to understand when we are allowed to go back for the planes, you know, and everything else. And for sure, I have still a lot to do with the FIA, you know, for the karting. So we're doing some home office here, and but I mean, definitely just waiting this difficult situation to pass, and then getting back to the life, also in the karting, but also with the Formula E, getting back to the championship. So I don't know how it's going to be, but they are still waiting to understand how it's going to be the calendar, you know. And yeah, really hope these things passing through and getting back to our normal life.
And when do you have you got any idea yet about the calendar?
For the what? Formula E? Formula E, I mean, I heard that they are planning to do one race very end of July or maybe beginning of August, maybe one race in the another one in August, and maybe another one in September. So I don't know if it will be 3 or 4 events, maybe double race each event. But I mean, nothing is official for the moment. I think they are still waiting for the places to confirm and waiting to understand if we're gonna have public people or not. So we for the moment it's not 100% official. So we just need to wait and see. And for the karting, we changed completely the setup for the calendar. So we will start in July, if I'm not wrong. So we just make official the calendar a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, and then it's going into October, the calendar. So I think maybe it will be of July into October. If I'm not wrong, I don't remember exactly where is the first race, but it's something related to that.
Okay. And are you gonna bring me to a Formula E race? I mean, when I say bring, I mean pay the ticket, pay the hotel, pay.
Well, you have enough money for that, no?
Not me. No.
Come on.
No, but this season, definitely this season, I wanna come to a race.
Yeah.
And be like I watched for like 20 more than 20 years in Formula One, to see the guests in the motorhome enjoying themselves, drinking wine, having a nice time. Yeah, I want to do that once.
Just enjoying and relaxing.
Yeah.
Actually, Formula E is very good on that. I mean, because it's a great event, everything in one day. So you have all the free practice, 2 free practice sessions, qualifying and the race, and bye. So it's quite a nice, especially for the people, you know, to go there, to enjoy, to watch. It's really a nice event. It's a very nice organization. And it's actually the championship that is growing more compared to all of the others, you know. So it's quite nice. And it's a big... On the driver point of view, I tell you, man, it's a great and big fight. Low grip, difficult and very tight tracks, very challenging. So it's quite fun.
I'm definitely going to come along. So you have to get me a pass for your motorhome.
I will think about it. Only for Frank. I find only for Frank and Felix.
Yeah, get them the passes and then I'll come with them.
All right, mate. Thank you. Thank you for this nice chat. It was a good pleasure for me, also for the people, you know, to hear a little bit about all these long. I cut a little bit the questions because otherwise we will stay here more than 2 hours. So, but anyway, thank you. It's a great pleasure, and so we love you here and your family, Frank, Felix, and Lucy, and I hope to see you soon. Huh?
Us too. See you soon. See you all soon. We're looking forward to you coming over here.
All right, we will.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
See you soon.
Bye.
See you.